in this context, I am curious for you to lay out how you avoid a similar trap with both internal controversies within the Catholic Church. Now, you could do a thought experiment, go back to 14th century, 15th century, I believe, with the Great Schism, right?
Roughly, yeah.
Yeah. So like if, say you were living in that day and you have 4 separate claimants to the papal throne, how do you navigate that on a practical level?
I mean, I think the beautiful thing is the short-term thing is turn off the television. That's the thing. It's kind of like it's important, but it shouldn't be all-consuming, or it doesn't necessarily need to be so present, because at the end of the day, our allegiance isn't to the Pope. Our allegiance is to Christ. So as a Catholic, you have faith that no matter what happens, everything is guided by the Holy Spirit, and that the gates of hell will not prevail against the church. And so it's kind of, there shouldn't necessarily be a desperation or anything like that. The only thing you really can do personally is pray for what's ever going on in a particular instance, and hope for a brighter day in the church. And the church is up, and the church is down. So it's kind of like, all right, well, I know the Holy Spirit is guiding her, and it will end as a comedy and not a tragedy. So I would say any hyper focus on either secular politics or ecclesiopolitics is unimportant, or is to be typically avoided. And I think the main thing is to, focus up when it's important to be focused up on. Like at the death of a pope, I'm going to be a little bit more invested in things, but every news story, everything going on, or even a civil election, maybe to have moderation as a Christian in all forms of media consumption and how much we let what's going on in the world outside of our control kind of mess with our passions and emotions.
So you would say it sounds like that the way that people on left and right in America have aneurysms, and I've been guilty of this, the Trump's election in 2016, I saw as essentially the end of the world. When I was at UWM the next day, I kid you not, it was like everyone had lost a parent at the same time. There was a pall and a silence. We had little circles of commiseration. And I remember Bill Maher, my favorite political commentator, on this next episode, they were wearing hats saying, "We're still here." And it's like, you coming from kind of the other side of 2016, that level of investment in what you were calling transient, passing, the Bible has some much harsher language to use of it.
Yes.
Institutions. Would you argue then, it sounds like you're saying that level of mania and that level of where your personal spiritual stability, emotional stability can be like almost James describing a double-minded man being tossed about by every wave. You're saying that's the ultimate result of which you wouldn't necessarily have with the Catholic hierarchy politics per se, because in your case, there is that promise you hold to from a Catholic perspective, where in secular politics, there are no promises.
No. Yeah, I think exactly. I think in the Catholic Church, we have this idea of the passions as sort of this neutral agent that one should not let oneself be overly impacted by, or you should try to have control of your passions lest they have control over you. That's a much deeper conversation. But I would say in the realm of politics, your realm of concern is going to far outstrip your level of control. And so the Catholic would say that God has called you to a certain sphere of influence in what you can control, in whatever your station in life is, and you're probably going to mess that up. So you probably want to start there, and that's how you will change the world. because the person who's overly concerned with national politics, they're going to get so turned into it. But unless, like we saw recently, they pick up a gun and do something about it, they're just going to kind of turn themselves in
for
circles.
future listeners who are years out from this. We hope it'll have that kind of impact. Just Google attempted assassination of Donald Trump. So we hope with this series and I with all my podcasts to let's say stimulate the latent potential that I've seen in a lot of people. That, I mean, the name of our episode, Cause and Effect. Just the simple idea that what you believe about God has an impact on your entire life. And that if you haven't considered it, you should consider it. There's my pitch, I guess, at the end. So, any closing thoughts?
Can't say that I have any.
Well, until next time, then I'm Eric Slawick, also known as the Pen Guy.
I'm Alex Burks.
And we will see you for the next argument for God's existence.